This is something you guys have been requesting like crazy for a long time. It took a while, but I finally found 3 stories that take place during school lockdowns. It was a typical, boring day in calculus, except it was Friday, 7th period, which meant the week was almost over and spring break was almost here. Everyone was antsy in their seats. We didn't have a test that day like a lot of my friends did with their other teachers. So our teacher decided, in the middle of class, to start playing games with us on sportsdaily.com. He was a very laid-back teacher like that. We were doing a brand logo quiz on Sporkle when it happened. I remember the exact moment. Right after my friend answered a question, the answer was Adidas. The dean's voice came over the loudspeaker. He sounded panicked and frantic as he told all the teachers this was not a drill and to go into lockdown. I actually got chills and goosebumps. Our usually laid-back teacher seemed panicked too. He ran to turn off the lights and ushered us to the back corner of the room. We all sat in silence for about 2 minutes, and then the usual buzzing coming from a panel in the back of the room stopped, which meant the school must have cut the power. We all looked at each other, realizing this must be serious. A few minutes later, we heard a man screaming at the top of his lungs down the hallway. 2 girls in the class started crying, which made everyone even more scared. As the screaming got closer, the man, sounding absolutely lunatic, started banging on the lockers while yelling, "I'll kill all of you." That was the moment I started to fear for my life. My teacher shushed us and we exchanged terrified looks. The banging moved from the lockers to our classroom door, and one of the crying girls screamed, "No!" The pounding on the door only grew worse as the man started screaming, "Open up!" 2 girls in the class were sobbing out loud. It felt like an eternity while he pounded at the door, but eventually he continued down the hallway, screaming like a mentally unstable person until we couldn't hear him anymore. About 10 minutes later, though it felt like half an hour, the dean came back on the loudspeaker to explain the situation, which was unusual for him. He said a mentally unstable person had entered the building and assaulted the woman at the front desk, causing her to flee screaming. Staff weren't sure if the man was armed. This was before our school had cameras or proper security, so the building was very exposed to something like this. Staff had swept the hallways and classrooms but couldn't find him, so the dean instructed teachers to resume teaching with all doors locked and no students allowed to leave for any reason. The most disturbing part was that one of the night shift janitors found a man sleeping in a storage closet near the back of the school. According to rumors my peers spread, a .44 Magnum was sticking out his pocket. The janitor must have done something to wake him up, maybe left the closet door open, because by the time the police arrived, the man was gone. To this day, my entire class, as far as I know, has no idea whether he was ever found. I like to think he's getting the help he needs now. Music. My school has 2 lunch periods. The first is for all 6th graders and some 7th graders. The second is for the rest of the 7th graders and all 8th graders. The lockdown happened at the beginning of October. That day was overcast and rainy. During the first lunch period, I heard 4 loud booms. I thought it was thunder, but the entire lunch crowd started screaming. I figured they were overreacting at first, but campus security rushed in and started yelling for everyone to go into the multi-purpose room. Kids who were in line buying lunch had to throw out their food and come inside. My friends and I were ushered into the huge multi-purpose room, which has a back wall of see-through glass. Campus security covered the glass with curtains, and adults were stationed at every exit. My friend Eric asked one of the adults what was happening. When he came back, he told us there was a mentally disabled, dangerous man who had barricaded himself in front of a house near the school. He was threatening to commit suicide and to kill cops if evicted. He'd been walking around outside of the school, staring at kids in a very creepy way. Eric said the man was also a registered sex offender, which made the situation even worse. We were stuck in the multi-purpose room for a whole hour, taking up 2 class periods. After everything settled, we were escorted back to our classrooms one by one. Later, I learned the man lived next to my friend Brandy. She told me about the previous Halloween when she saw the same man at his window cutting his arm and writing in his own blood, "Don't come here or I'll kill you." Because it was Halloween, people assumed it was a stunt, but after this incident we knew he was mentally unstable and we were glad he never got close to the school. Music. I'm 22 years old, fresh out of college, and I recently got a job at my old high school as a computer intern in the school basement. The basement is messy and disorganized, but there's a small 3-person office that's actually very nice. It has 3 big desks, 2 mini fridges, a flat-screen TV mounted on the wall, and oh-so-satisfying air conditioning, a luxury students and teachers don't get in the rest of the school. Of course, all the school servers and other computer equipment are down there too. I got the job because 3 of my old computer teachers absolutely adore me. I can honestly call them real friends, not just teachers. They helped me land the job. It's been great, until something happened a few weeks ago. My 2 co-workers who share the office, Dave and Gary, were upstairs working on paperwork. I was eating my sandwich during my lunch break when I got a phone call from one of the women in the front office. She told me the school was on lockdown and that someone possibly armed had entered the building. There wasn't much I could do other than turn off the lights. As nice as this little office was, it didn't even have an actual door, just a wide opening, and the door to the basement itself didn't have a working lock. For my own safety, I shut off all the lights and my computer screen. I kept my phone on the desk, texting both Gary and Dave, but they never responded. I sat there in the dark, playing games on my phone for about 20 minutes, waiting for the call to let me know it was safe to resume working. I had no idea what was going on upstairs. From down here, I couldn't hear anything. Then the basement door creaked open, the sound echoing across the empty space and into my office. My stomach dropped. I sat up, wondering if I should call out for Gary or Dave. I wanted answers. Heavy footsteps came running down the stairs, getting closer and closer to my office. I shoved my chair back and crawled under my desk. Someone entered the office but didn't turn on the lights. The silence was unbearable. My fears impossible to describe. I felt like if I made one wrong sound, I'd be dead. And then it happened. My phone dinged. A text message. The sound pierced the silence like a gunshot, and I felt my entire world collapse in that instant. My teeth clenched as footsteps drew closer. Finally, I dove out from under the desk in desperation, begging whoever was not to kill me. A strong hand grabbed my arm and pulled me up. It was a man. He wore a red plaid button-up jeans and a reddish-black cap. He said calmly, "It's okay, I'm just down here hiding with you." I whispered back, asking, "What's going on up there?" But instead of answering, he asked if there was an exit in the basement. I told him, "Yeah, around that way." Something felt off. Before he could move, I asked, "Who are you?" There was a pause. Then he explained that he had come in to pick up his son, and a teacher told him to hide. I looked at my phone to check the text I had just received. It was from Dave. "Dude, this is crazy. Some guy with a gun shot Mr. Buckley. He's wearing a red shirt and hat. Whatever you do, don't come upstairs." I froze. The words burned into my mind. Slowly, I looked up at the man in front of me. Red shirt, hat. My stomach sank. He seemed to notice my sudden suspicion. Panic shot through me. The only thought in my head was run. I bolted for the stairs. A gunshot exploded behind me, the bullet ricocheting off something metal in the basement. Sparks flashed in the dark. Somehow, by a miracle, it missed me, and I made it upstairs alive. Police were already at all exits, including the basement, and they caught the man the moment he opened the door. More good news. Mr. Buckley survived the gunshot. Later, we learned that the man had some kind of grudge against him, though no one ever knew the reason why. One thing was certain. Mr. Buckley couldn't have done anything to deserve that kind of attack. But even now, the sound of that gunshot echoing in the basement will stay with me forever.